Hi friends, welcome to day 6 of the 10-day yoga challenge. Today we'll be talking about the fourth limb of yoga, which is pranayama. Pranayama is essentially breath work. By definition, prana in the ancient yoga text is life force. So it's this universal life force energy. And yama means restraint, discipline, or control. There's a saying that a yogi's life is not measured by number of seconds, but by number of breaths. So if you can expand your breath, you're going to expand your life. And it's not exactly like that in actuality, but it's kind of a fun thing to think about, expanding your breath and expanding your energy that way. And so there are a few different techniques that are really common that you'll see at yoga studios and you'll use a lot. And I'll go through a few of those right now, and then we'll practice a few in our practice as well. So first, there's Samavriti breath. Samavriti is equal parts breath. This breath is just matching your inhales to your exhales, same length. You might start with a count of 4, inhale for 4, exhale for 4. And then you might extend it, try 5, 6, 7, however long you can go where you feel comfortable and safe doing that. You can also do Visamavriti breath. And so this one is not matching your inhales to exhales. It's unequal parts breath or irregular breath. And with Visamavriti, there are different ratios, and I'll even do a video later on going through the different ratios and different styles. But essentially you have an inhale, you hold your breath for a couple seconds, and you exhale. And none of those numbers are going to match each other usually. It's you might inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6, something like that. There's also Ujjayi breath. This one is sometimes called ocean breath or Darth Vader breath because it's an audible sounding breath. Essentially you constrict the back of the throat and it creates a ha sound as if you were fogging up a window, but you keep your mouth closed. So you're doing that same constricting of the back of the throat like you would when you're fogging up the window, but you're exhaling through the nose and inhaling through the nose. And this is actually, Ujjayi actually means victorious breath. So it's this strong, sounding breath that you can use your entire vinyasa practice if you have the dedication to it. I have seen several students that have a really strong Ujjayi breath practice. And they have a lot of focus in their practice because of it, because they're engaging their mind as well as their body. And it's a very beautiful thing. It's also a very challenging breath to keep up for a whole 75-minute vinyasa for sure. So if you're ever bored in a yoga class, try Ujjayi. And I will go through the steps on how to do it once we get started moving on our mats. So go ahead and grab your mat and we'll get started.
Hey friends, go ahead and grab your blocks if you have them and set them off to the side. Then come to a comfortable seat, Sukhasana or any other comfortable seat. Bring your hands to your knees, roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Do that again. Inhale, roll them up, exhale, back and down. Your palms can stay on your knees or you can bring them to your heart center, your choice. We're going to do a breathing technique called Samavriti, which means equal parts breath. So I'll count it out for the first few breaths and then you can do the rest in your head. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep this up in your own head or extend it to 5 seconds or 6 seconds, matching your inhale to your exhale if you'd like. We'll be here for a couple of minutes, so just keep breathing. Take a deep breath in, let it go. And then on your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead to a high prayer. Bring your prayer to heart center. Feel free to join me for a round of Om. Now bring the soles of your feet to touch and let your knees come wide for butterfly and fold forward. If you want to grab your block and bring your forehead to your block, you can. Otherwise, maybe you just bring your thumbs on the inside of the soles of your feet and let your knees come wide. Take a few breaths here, lengthening your spine and letting yourself fall in. On your next inhale, come back up to a seat, plant your hands behind you, and send your hips up for reverse tabletop. Sit back down and then roll over to your hands and knees. Begin to take some cat-cows here. So as you inhale, let your belly drop. Exhale, really push into the floor, curve your spine. Inhale, send your heart forward, gaze forward. Exhale, really tuck your tailbone, round your back. Move through this with your own breath, curving your spine as you exhale and dropping your belly and gazing forward as you inhale. Now extend your right leg behind you at hip height. Extend your left hand in front of you at shoulder height. As you exhale, curve in your knee to elbow. Lengthen as you inhale. Exhale, curve in. Lengthen as you inhale. Exhale, curve in, and lengthen. Now come back to your tabletop position and switch sides. Extend your left leg behind you at hip height, right hand in front of you. Exhale, curve in, knee to elbow, lengthen. Exhale, curve in, lengthen. One more time, and lengthen. Come back to your tabletop position. Now bring your big toes to touch, widen your knees, and send your hips back over your heels for child's pose. Your forehead can come to the mat. Take a deep breath in, and let it go. You can come back to this pose at any time. Begin to walk your hands over to the left side of your mat and get a stretch through the right side of your body here. And come through center, walk your hands over to the right side as well. And then come back to neutral, come up to your tabletop position, tuck your toes, and find your downward facing dog. Take some time to pedal your feet out, bend one knee and then the other. Warm up into this pose. And then let both heels reach towards the back of the mat, even if they don't touch. Roll forward to a plank pose. And then send your hips back up high to downward facing dog. Send your right leg up and back to three-legged dog, and then step it forward between your hands, coming to a lunge. Peel your right fingertips up, twisting towards your front leg. Frame your front foot, and then step back to plank pose. Lower all the way down to the mat. You can always drop your knees to modify this. Inhale to a cobra. Exhale, push through your tabletop, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Same thing on the left. Left leg lifts up, Step it forward between your hands and peel your left fingertips up for a twist. Frame your front foot, step your left foot back to plank, and lower all the way to the mat. Inhale to a little baby cobra. Lower down, come through your tabletop. Bring your big toes to touch, send your hips back, and take a child's pose here. Begin to slide your hands back under your shoulders and come up to a seat. You can even swing your legs around, maybe come to Sukhasana or any other comfortable seat. We'll be going through a breathing technique called Ujjayi Breath. Ujjayi is sometimes called ocean breath or Darth Vader breath. You constrict the back of the throat to make an audible sound as you breathe. So imagine you're trying to fog up a window. Open up your mouth and go, and then try the same thing with your mouth closed. This is an Ujjayi exhale. You can do the same thing with your inhale, constricting the back of your throat as you let air pass through. And then try it for a few breaths, inhaling and exhaling. If it helps to keep your mouth open at first, do that, and then try it with your mouth closed. Take just a couple more breaths like this, and then see if you can take it with you for our next movement. We'll be doing some sun salutation. So come to stand at the top of your mat, reach your arms up overhead, Urdhva Hastasana, high prayer. Exhale, swan dive over to a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, step your right foot back, and then your left, downward facing dog. Roll forward into your plank pose, option to drop your knees, and then lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale to your cobra, untucking your toes. Exhale, find your downward facing dog again. Hips can go high. Now inhale your right leg up and back. Step it forward between your hands. Drop your left knee to the mat. Arms can come up overhead. Low lunge. Exhale, frame your front foot. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Half lift at the top of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale your arms up overhead. High prayer. Let your prayer come to heart center. Sweep your arms up overhead, high prayer again. Exhale, swan dive over, forward fold. Half lift, lengthening your spine. Bend your knees, plant your hands. Step your left foot back this time, and then your right, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Roll forward to your plank pose. Option to drop your knees, lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, let your heart lift, shoulders press back, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up and back, and then step it forward between your hands. Lower your right knee to the mat, arms will come up overhead. Low lunge. Frame your front foot. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Arms come up overhead, high prayer. Let your prayer come to heart center. Inhale your arms up overhead to your high prayer. We'll do one more round. Swan dive over, forward fold. Half lift, hands come to your shins. Bend your knees, plant your hands. Right foot will step back, and then your left. Downward dog. Roll forward to plank pose. Lower down as you exhale, elbows hug in. Inhale up to your cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Right heel lifts up to the sky. Step it forward between your hands. Drop your left knee to the mat. Arms will come up overhead. Frame your front foot. Step your left foot up to meet your right. Half lift. Fold in as you exhale. Arms come up to Urdhva Hastasana, high prayer. And then bring your prayer to heart center. Inhale, arms up high. Exhale, swan dive over. Half lift. Hands come to your shins. Bend your knees, plant your hands. Step your left foot back and then your right. Down dog. Roll forward, Kumbhakasana. Lower down as you exhale, and then lift up to your up dog or your cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up and back. Step it forward between your hands and drop your right knee down to the mat. Arms come up overhead, palms facing each other. Exhale, frame your front foot. Step your right foot up to meet your left, half lift. Fold in as you exhale. Arms come up overhead, high prayer. Exhale, swan dive over to your forward fold. Step your left foot back and your right. Find downward facing dog here. Lift your right leg up and back. Open up your hip, bending your knee. Move your hips around a little bit here. And then bring your right shin forward for Pigeon Pose. And so this can be at an angle. It doesn't have to be parallel to the front of the mat. Your left leg is long behind you, and if you have some space between your right hip and the mat, grab a block or a rolled up blanket and put it up under your hip. Then walk your hands forward, coming to a forward fold here. Your hips should be neutral, so if you need to support them with some props, go ahead and do so. On your next inhale, slowly slide your hands up under your shoulders and lift any props out from underneath your hip. Sit into your right hip and swing your left leg around. So your sole of your right foot is going to come to your left inner thigh and your left leg is long. Now turn to your left leg and fold. This is Janasana. Just a couple more breaths here. Slowly begin to walk up to a tall spine. Plant your right hand behind you, and you can push into your right hand and your right shin, coming up to a stargazer. Left hand will reach up and back. This is a nice counter pose because of all the forward folding we've been doing. Sit back down, and then bring the soles of your feet to touch. Knees come wide for butterfly, just like we did at the beginning of class, and fold forward. You may notice that you're able to go a little bit further down this time because you're a little bit warmer. On your next inhale, slowly begin to roll up to a tall spine. Really take your time with it. And then we'll move into the other side. So roll over to your hands and knees. Tuck your toes, find downward dog. And then inhale your left leg up and back. Bring your left shin forward. So your shin is at an angle, coming to our pigeon pose. Right leg is long behind you. And again, grab any blocks or rolled up blankets to support your left hip here if it feels good for you. Walk your hands forward, come to the forward fold here. You can also bring a bolster blanket underneath your torso for a little bit of support. Begin to bring your hands up under your shoulders. Slowly push up to a tall spine. If you have a prop under your hip, move it off to the side. Sit into your left hip. Swing your right leg around and bring the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Turn to face your right leg and fold forward for Janasana. Slowly roll up. Find stargazer if you'd like to, planting your left hand behind you, pushing into your left hand and left shin, and reaching your right arm back. And then sit back down. We'll be finding boat pose next. So sitting on your hips, lift your knees up, and then you can lower halfway. Lower halfway, lift up, lower halfway, lift up, lower halfway, lift up, lower halfway, and lift up. And then hold boat pose. You can keep your feet parallel to the ground, or you can rest them on the ground if that feels better. Lower all the way down slowly. Hug your knees into your chest, give them a little bit of a squeeze, maybe make some circles. And then rock back up to a seat. We'll be practicing another breathing technique here. This one is called Visamavriti, or unequal parts breath. So how we did equal, matching the inhale to exhale, we're going to do a ratio this time, 4 to 6. You'll inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, and then exhale for 6. I'll count you out a few times, and then you can keep it up in your own head or change it a little bit if you want to extend the exhales. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can keep breathing like this, counting off in your own head, or return to Samavriti if that feels better for you. Take a big inhale and release. Then send your feet straight out in front of you and just fold straight forward for Pashimo Janasana, our final forward fold. On your next inhale, slowly roll up to a tall spine. And then you can lay all the way on your back. We'll be moving into a supine twist next, so hug your right knee into your chest and then send it over to the left for your twist. You can support it with a block if that feels good. Your arms can be wide and you can gaze over to the right. If it feels better, you can also bend your other leg, your left leg, and support your right leg with your left leg. Begin to release, unwind, step your right foot to the mat and your left, and come to a neutral spine. You can hug your knees into your chest here, or just pause in the center. And then extend your right leg long, left knee is hugged in, and we'll roll over to the right side. And you can bend your right knee like you did on the other side if you did that. Left arm will come out to the side and you can gaze over your left shoulder. Gently begin to release, step both feet to the mat, come to a neutral spine, and hug your knees into your chest, maybe making circles if that feels good for you. And then send your feet straight up for waterfall. You may need to bend your knees to make this pose comfortable, And if you find that you're having to activate your core a lot to keep your legs up, send your feet a little closer to your shoulders, a little higher up overhead. Begin to step your feet to the mat or hug your knees into your chest. And then send your legs long on the mat. And we'll move into our final Shavasana. So let all of your limbs be nice and heavy. You can close your eyes here if you'd like. Give yourself this time to fully relax, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out of it. Begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Shake your head side to side. Maybe even reach your arms up overhead and take a nice long stretch. Step your feet to the mat one at a time, and then roll to your right side and curl up into a fetal position. Pause here. When you're ready, push your way up to a seat, and we'll find Sukhasana. Reach your arms up overhead to high prayer. Join me for a round of Om. Om. Thank you for joining me today.